this plate. It may have been due to another monster or because it couldn't get inside the cave due to the small entrance, but the monster had left without causing harm. However, there was no guarantee that he would be safe if it returned. He thought he had gotten lucky this time, but it might go differently next time. After everything he had done to survive, he didn't want to die. He decided that the best course of action was to eat well and stay alive. While Sejun was eating, the husband rabbit approached him, wanting to show him something. Sejun followed him and found something unbelievable, a ripe cherry tomato. But it was nothing like he had expected. It was blue and glistening in the sunlight. Sejun was shocked, but the blue color wasn't the first thing he noticed about the fruit. He bent down and tried to pick up the large, ripe fruit, then wondered why it was blue. As he pondered this, a window appeared in front of Sejun, informing him that he had completed the quest to harvest the fruit containing the energy of the blue moon. Sejun was shocked. He couldn't believe that the thing in front of him was an actual message window. The message on the window changed, and now it said that the tower manager was interested in him because of his amazing achievements. It had been keeping a keen eye on Sejun, but it wasn't happy. Confused, Sejun wondered why the tower manager wouldn't be happy with him, and the husband rabbit didn't know what was going on either. Sejun learned that he was not a duly invited guest, and the tower manager had accepted it as a blunder. It wanted to eliminate Sejun. Shocked, he asked the window what it meant. Was it a mistake that he had ended up in the tower? He angrily said that if that were the case, he should be allowed to go home immediately. But the window said that the tower master wanted to kill Sejun to eradicate all proof of this mistake. Sejun was flabbergasted. He screamed at the screen, saying that he had completed a wonderful achievement, and instead of rewarding him, the manager wanted to kill him. The system window fell silent for a while, and Sejun wondered what was happening. The next message he received changed his mood from scared and angry to elated. The tower manager was awakening him. Sejun felt an aura surrounding him as soon as the message was displayed. He couldn't believe it, and confirmed with the window that he was officially awake in the tower. Eagerly, he awaited to see which job he would be assigned, hoping for something like a wizard. However, his assigned job was a tower farmer with a proficiency of F rank. All the joy and excitement left Sejun's face, and he went blank. The windows continued to give him messages about his job. He would never get sick, be close to nature, and gain experience points by harvesting crop. Sejun was shocked. There was no job class other than a warrior and a magician inside the tower. How could he be a farmer? He commanded the system to open his status window and found that his talent was ordinary, and his stats were all at 1. He stared at his status window, but the only thing he could focus on was his ordinary talent. Yelling in frustration, Sejun tried to smash the blue tomato to the ground, saying he didn't need it. But then he looked at the scared and concerned faces of the rabbits and stopped. Sejun was taken aback by the influence his actions had on his friends and looked at his farm, then at the tomato in his hand. He wasn't alone in growing it. Everyone had worked hard to reach this point. Sejun decided that he would continue farming, and the rabbits were happy. Sejun looked at the blue tomato in his hand, and an information window opened up telling him about the tomato. It was a magical cherry tomato imbued with the power of the blue moon. Not only was it tasty and nutritious, but when consumed, it would increase one's MP by 0.05 permanently. Sejun was shocked. The tomato in his hand was actually an item. Even though the effect was small, it was permanent and could boost one's stats. Sejun was amazed by himself. He had grown something as great as this. But the tower manager was watching him and wasn't satisfied with how things were going. As Sejun thanked the rabbits and celebrated with them for achieving this feat, a message window popped up in front of him. A quest had been triggered. He had to offer the blue cherry tomato to the manager. The reward for the quest was a job-related skill, and the penalty for refusing was death. Sejun read the entire message, and when he saw that the penalty was death, he became scared. He asked the window if it was a joke out of anger. He accused the admin of blackmailing him and using the name of a quest to justify his actions. Sejun told the admin that if he wanted the blue tomato, he should ask for it properly. If the admin played dirty games like this and made it look like he was giving Sejun options, that would not be good. Sejun was a bit relieved after venting his anger, but then he realized the death penalty and politely offered the blue tomato. The tomato in Sejun's hands vanished, and he received a message that he had completed the quest. The next window displayed the quest reward, and Sejun was excited to receive it. He knew it was a job-related skill, but since he had been focusing solely on the death penalty, he had momentarily forgotten about it. Sejun flattered the tower manager, calling him generous. Then, he decided to check what kind of skill he had obtained and opened the quest reward. The reward was the skill sowing at level 1. This skill slightly increased the probability of germination when a seed was planted. Sejun Sejun didn't know how to react, but he was certainly disappointed. However, he consoled himself, saying that since his job was that of a tower farmer, he couldn't expect much from the reward anyway. He went to the dark parts of the cave with a torch and encountered a fish that jumped out towards the flame. Sejun used a club made of green onion stems and leaves to hit it towards the land. The fish died, and Sejun learned that it was a piranha he had killed. The information window informed him that he had gained 2 experience points for it. This was the 5th fish Sejun had caught, and with that, he now had 10 experience points. After awakening as a farmer, Sejun was able to collect experience points. He caught several piranhas every day for several days and reached level 2. He wanted to catch more of them, but he knew it was a bad idea. He thought he shouldn't kill a living thing without reason. Besides, he obtained valuable protein from the fish. If he killed all of them and their population went extinct, he wouldn't be able to eat them again. Sejun roasted the fish and called his friends to eat. The baby rabbits were much hungrier than their parents. They ran towards Sejun, who was like their human uncle, and he gave them fish wrapped in onion leaves. They had grown a little and started eating a lot more than before. Sejun asked them to leave some food for their mom and dad as well. There was another benefit Sejun received from awakening. He could get information about the rabbits. He gave them their share, and the rabbits happily accepted it. They were farmer white rabbits, and Sejun had a few ideas about how they ended up with him. They were a type of monster he had never heard of outside the tower. Based on their name, Sejun realized that they specialized in farming, not fighting. He thought that this must be the reason they were not widely known. The rabbits began flirting as they ate, and Sejun watched them, wondering what had happened to them. He assumed that they must have lost their farms, and, after wandering for some time, found this cave and him. He wanted to know if the rabbits had a hometown to return to, but he couldn't understand them, and they couldn't understand him beyond basic farming terminology. Sejun expressed this to the husband rabbit, saying that he wished they could understand each other, but the rabbit didn't understand human speech either, and was confused. Now that they were done eating, Sejun said they should head back to the farm. Today was an important day for all of them, and the husband rabbit was also excited. They reached the farm to find the cherry tomatoes perfectly ripe. Sejun was amazed to see them. They were even better than the tomatoes he brought with him. The rabbits were also pleased to see the red tomato fruits. Sejun grew sentimental as he said that now was the time to harvest them. They had worked so hard to grow them. They had harvested one after the blue moon, but it didn't count. Sejun was nervous as he went to harvest the first tomato. His hand trembled, and the rabbits watched him anxiously too. However, Sejun picked a fruit that easily separated from the branch. He exclaimed that this was his first cherry tomato and it had ripened so well. The tomatoes brought more good news. Sejun saw information windows telling him that he had harvested a well-ripened magical cherry tomato and would receive 10 experience points for it. Sejun was surprised to learn that these tomatoes were also magical, just like the blue tomato. He read their information and discovered that when consumed, this tomato would decompose 10 grams of fat and increase 0.1 MP magic points for 10 minutes. The MP effect could be stacked up to 10 times, with a maximum time limit of 1 hour. Although this information was impressive, Sejun's name was listed as the cultivator of the tomato, and it was mentioned that it was an E-grade item with a shelf life of 30 days. Sejun was impressed that even though the effect of one tomato was quite small, if 10 of them were eaten together, they could boost MP by 1. He wondered if the other tomatoes were also the same, and set out to harvest them. He harvested the tomatoes, and each one was also a ripe magical cherry tomato, except for one that was unripe. He received only 7 experience points for the unripe tomato. Sejun was taken aback by his mistake, but he still got 7 experience points, and the unripe fruit returned to being a normal tomato. Sejun thought he had harvested enough crops for the day. He took a tomato and said he should have a taste, but the rabbits stomped their feet aggressively, and Sejun looked at them. They were angry, and he apologized. Sejun offered the tomatoes to them, saying they had achieved this together, so they should reap the rewards together, too. The husband rabbit was furious, but picked up a tomato. Sejun said they should celebrate the successful harvest and everyone should eat. When Sejun ate the tomato, his mind was blown. He felt as if he were lying on soft green grass, looking up at the clear night sky. Then, suddenly, a flare flew into the sky and exploded like a firework. Sejun got up and looked at it with his mouth open. The fresh scent of grass and the sweet and sour taste of the tomato mixed with the scent. Sejun felt that this feeling was similar to the fireworks in the middle of a summer festival. Sejun shed a tear of joy as he remembered the summer and felt it in the tomato. The wife rabbit asked her husband if he knew what Sejun was saying, and he had no idea. The rabbits took the remaining tomatoes and stored them in a makeshift storage facility, covering the tomatoes with onion leaves. Sejun lay down and watched them. He thought the rabbit kids were now big enough to help their parents. He was ready to sleep on mattresses and use an eye mask, both made of onion leaves. Sejun said they were indeed the children of Farmer White Rabbits. Sejun knew he should go to sleep now, as he was feeling sleepy, and was sure that when he woke up tomorrow, another wonderful day would greet him. Sejun lay down and immediately began to snore. But then, a quest was issued for him. He must offer 100 magical cherry tomatoes to the tower manager. The reward was a job-related skill, and the penalty was the same as before: death. However, Sejun was deeply asleep and did not notice the quest window.